Hey, what's up, guys? Gonna wait a couple minutes. Hey, Bob, how's it going, buddy? How's your night going, sir? Bob, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a wrench, if you don't mind so much, sir. You don't really have to do anything. I don't get too many folks in here, but I'm actually doing it from my laptop. I really like to do it from my phone. It'd be a lot easier, and I could get a better angle, but gotta get that 1,000 subs. No, you're good. You volunteer with an animal shelter? I have 3 cats and a dog, and we're looking at getting another dog. Hey, 44 Mag. Yeah, you got it, Bob. Candy was in here last night. She's modding for me as well. If my brother shows up, he'll be modding for me too. And that light is bright on that 90 gallon. Let me fix that. It's still super bright, but not as bad. Now you can see the fish at least. 5 dogs. Jeez. What kind of dogs do you have? Mine's she's a pit bull German Shepherd mix. Sweetheart. All she wants to do is lay in your lap and cuddle. So fun fact, I went and picked up a 220 gallon tank this afternoon. Sitting in the back of my buddy's truck. We decided to leave it in his truck so we could just deliver it to the new house. That's awesome, Bob. They all need to be loved and taken care of. Just because they have some additional needs doesn't mean they're bad pets. If anything, they probably love you more for it. I was actually watching a video about a blind and deaf dog, and the way the guy wakes it up, he blows on the dog so he doesn't scare it too bad. Then she realizes that he's there, calms down. My cousin had a deaf bulldog growing up. The only thing he could hear was gunshots, and they scared him to death. Oh, I'm sorry, Bob. It's always hard. Losing a pet's never fun. I had a border collie. I got her when I was 5. Jeez, I must have been 20 when she died. Yeah, no worries. What kind of cookies? I like cookies. Also like red wine. I don't know if I'm supposed to drink wine on YouTube live streams. It's grape juice. Yeah, everybody loves cookies. Sugar cookies, peanut butter cookies, red velvet cookies, chocolate chip cookies. All the cookies. Oh yeah, I love me some peanut butter cookies. So the 220, oddly enough, the guy that had it, he had already stripped all the silicone out to reseal it and just decided he didn't want to set up another tank. Hey Francis, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by, bud. So he already stripped all the silicone out, and I already have the silicone I need to reseal tanks because I have a couple 55s to reseal. So it's going to be an easy day. Stand came with it. He had a light, but it needed new bulbs, and it was an older light, and I use LEDs for most of my tanks anyway. But I traded a rifle for it, one that I never used. He's a nice guy. Showed me his tanks. He had a 60-gallon and a 220-gallon saltwater tank set up. Built like a bar in his basement. That was pretty epic, actually. So he took us down, showed us the tanks. My friend Keith brought his truck because I unfortunately had to trade my truck in for a car because of my commute. And my friend Bailey, she came and helped us out. She's my designated tank moving assistant. She helped me move the two 125s over there and one of the 55s when we went to go pick it up in New York. I'm going to be building my first sump. I've actually never used a sump. I know how to build them. I spent far too much time on YouTube, especially during the quarantine, but it'll be my first go at it. I think I have a good idea with it. Probably should use the 75-gallon I have as a sump, but I might use a 55. Oh, man. Give him my condolences, Bob. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, Candy's had kind of a rough go lately, hasn't she? I feel bad for her. She seems to be around a lot of very difficult events. Yeah, losing a pup is never fun. I have a couple of older cats. Well, one cat's 8, so he's got a couple of years left on him, but Jesus. First the neighbor, now her dog, now his dog. Poor girl. Yeah, it's always hard, Francis. Only ever had to put one dog down, and that was probably the worst thing I ever had to do. Had a red bone coonhound that she got really sick. And her intestines were all enlarged and starting to like burst out of her, so she was in lots and lots of pain. So we had to put her down, and man, I don't usually cry for stuff like that, but I cried for that one. I love that puppy. Yeah, but it wasn't. She was eating pretty good food. It wasn't food. She got some sort of real bad infection. Vets recommended we put her down, and I didn't exactly want to, but she was also whining in pain all the time. I felt real bad for her. That was when I was stationed down in North Carolina when I was in the military. If any of you folks watching don't know, I was active duty Marine Corps for 4 years. That's the name Veteran Aquatics. Yeah, her name was Susie. She was a good pup. But when we get to the new house, we're gonna get another pup. One of these days, I'll introduce all my animals. Like I was saying before, we got 3 cats. We have Bunny, Poof, and Aries. Aries is a kitten. He's probably 8 months old. And then we have our dog, Athena. I would love another German Shepherd. I had a Shepherd for a while when I was in North Carolina. Due to circumstances, we had to rehome her. And that was pretty sad because she was a really good dog, too. But I love dogs. I'm definitely an animal guy. Bernedoodle. That's got to be interesting. Poodles are actually awesome dogs. One of my buddies in New York, I went up there and was hanging out with him, and he brought me to his mentor's house. He breeds poodles. He had this really awesome black poodle named Nemo. Man, that thing was smart. I was never really a big fan of poodles until then. Hey Ed, how's it going, boss? Thanks for stopping by. But I can't imagine. Is it a Bernese Mountain Dog mixed with a poodle? Yeah, so the new tank, I picked up the 220 today. It's sitting in the back of my buddy's truck because we're closing on a new house on Friday. I didn't want to deliver it here and then have to reload it and then move it again. So he decided he would hang on to it for me and bring it over to the new house. Thanks for stopping by, Mac. I appreciate it nonetheless, sir. This is a 0651. I was a data guy. I wasn't a combat MOS. I did the IT stuff. But yeah, so he's got the stand and the tank in the back of his truck. He was very nice. He offered to let me just take his truck to help move some of our stuff. So I'm gonna go pick his truck up on Friday night on my way home from closing. That way, Saturday all day, I can use his truck to ferry stuff back and forth to the new house, which is actually an enormous help. He definitely didn't have to do that. That's really cool, Francis. But Keith's a real nice guy. I got him into fish. I helped him set up his cichlid tank. He's got a 75 full of African peacock cichlids. And historically, I'm not an African keeper. I do have a tank over here with some Cares Africans in it. But after seeing his tank, I like peacock cichlids, but man, his tank actually turned out real nice. We got a bunch of his from Eric Kinder. But I'm going to do South Americans in it. I'm going to do some Geophagus, some Severum, some Silver Dollars, a couple of King Tiger Plecos, stuff like that. I'll probably end up putting in some silk plants. I mean, the cichlids will destroy real plants, but I'll do some fake plants in there, kind of go for a jungle theme. I did go and collect some driftwood the other day. I put up a video about that. So that's getting treated right now. So after that dries out, that'll go in the tank. 220 is not going to get set up for a little while. It's just there's a lot of stuff that has to be done before they have to build the sump. I have to reseal it. I have to recycle it, all that stuff. So it's going to be a little while, but that will be my biggest tank. Besides that, I have the two 125s. Those are my next biggest tanks, so we'll beat it by almost 100 gallons. Thank you, Francis. I really appreciate that. It's very kind of you, sir. I'm really excited. It's a nice house. I have a lot of room for a really big fish room. That was one of the things we were looking for, and this house ended up perfect. It's a split level, so the top level's got most of your living space, but there's a huge family room downstairs, an extra bedroom, full bathroom. Then I have my area. There's a deep sink in the laundry room next to it. So Sparrow's my wife, guys. Yes, honey, I'm going to do a video from start to finish. So I'll do the video of me sealing it. I'll do the video of me substrate, lighting, building the sump, cycle, stock, everything. Sparrow, if you don't know Kaler, that's Bob Kaler. He's one of the folks I watch his stream a lot. I'm in there a ton. He's a real nice guy. He's always trying to help me out as well. So he's a real nice fellow. That's why he's got a wrench. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to building it, Francis. It's going to be pretty epic because it's really going to be from start to finish. I have to go in there. There's some cabinets I have to rip out, and like a counter space that I have to take out. But after that, it's going to kind of just be building. Since we have a while before we sell this place, what I'm probably going to end up doing is sealing and setting up the 220. I'll probably bring some filters with me that are in existing tanks and cycle it real quick. And then I'll bring some of the Central and South Americans I have over just to empty out a couple tanks. Because in the 125 over there, I have 3 Jags. Down here, I have some Earth Eaters in the 55. They're actually not Geophagus. They're false fire mouths. And in this tank behind me, I have 2 black striped pikes. None of them are bigger than 6.5 inches. So in a 220, they should not kill each other. But my idea is to cycle the tank real quick, get it set up, put temporary filtration in it, just to kind of condense the tanks, because that allows me to bring down 3 more tanks. And with that, I'll be able to take my double 125 stand over there, set up the 125s, get those rolling. I can take this 55. I have 2 more 55s out on the front porch I can take with me. And then I'll be able to easily move the rest of the fish because I have guppies. I have some endlers down here. You can't really see them. I'm sorry, the light's really bright. Let me see if I turn it off if it looks better. There, you can kind of see it. So I have 6 angels and a rosaline shark in there. This is a 90-gallon tall, if anybody's wondering about the footprint. I know it looks a little weird. For things like discus and angels, we prefer the vertical space versus the horizontal space. So it's a little bit better for that. But I eventually want to breed these angels. I got them from one of the folks in my local club. I know who most of you are, but those folks, if you're not in Pennsylvania, you should probably look up your local aquarium clubs because I got these for free from somebody in the club. The Stomata Pia Mariae. There is a video on my channel. If you're not subscribed, go check it out. They are a Crater Lake African cichlid. They are only found in one place on the entire planet, and because of human encroachment on their habitat and fishing and stuff like that, they're endangered. So I was able to get them from the president of the Lehigh Valley Aquarium Society, and they're growing out right now. I got 9 juveniles. They're actually very small when I got them. But when they get a little bit bigger, I'll breed them and propagate them kind of the same way that they were given to me. Right now, it's probably going to forever be my Jags. My Jaguar cichlids they were the first Central and South American cichlids I owned. So a little bit of backstory on how I got into the hobby and how long I've been in. I got into the hobby when I was probably 11 or so. My dad bought me a blue betta fish. I named him Elvis. My dad kept fish tanks when I was a kid. Boyerstown, is that out by like York, or is it closer to Easton? Not entirely sure. So I'm actually fairly new to Pennsylvania. I moved down here in October to be with my phenomenal wife, Sparrow, and I now live in Stroudsburg. Hey, Punchy. How's it going? So yeah, that's how I got started in fish. Like I said, I was probably 11, and throughout my earlier teenage years, I got up to probably 10 tanks, guppies, sailfin mollies, that sort of thing. I didn't get super technical with it. I was young. I didn't know a lot. We didn't have the internet in my house at the point. Allentown and Reading. Yeah, so Francis, I don't know if you're part of it, but the Lehigh Valley Aquarium Society. Look them up on Facebook if you're already not part of the group, but there's some really awesome people in there. Karen Haas is really awesome. Her and her husband Alan have a really epic fish room, and that's where I got the Stomata Pia Mariae from. And one of the other fellows is where I got the angelfish from. There's actually some really nice guys and gals in that club. And fish get traded and sold, and plants. I got some free plants from the same guy I actually got these angels from. So if you're not part of them, look them up, Lehigh Valley Aquarium Society on Facebook. Yeah, they are. Karen and Alan are really nice folks. And I love going through their fishing. Karen's swordtails, those black swordtails she's got in that 50 low boy, are awesome. Once meetings start again, if you haven't been to a meeting, make sure you go to meetings. I had a really good time. I'm not a killifish keeper or anything, but there's a presentation done on killifish, and I actually learned a lot. I'll probably keep them at some point because the way I keep fish, I don't cycle fish in and out of my tanks. I just add more tanks. So every fish that I get, I keep. The only way I get rid of it is, I don't know, I had some regular fancy guppies that I bred, and they had some endler in them, so I was keeping them to do that because I was having a hard time finding endlers. I finally found them at Reef to Rift. So I gave all those away, actually, to my friend Keith, who helped me go get to 220 today. But that's going to be a really, really fun tank. I might reach back out to Dave for angels. I got other stuff that I want to do maybe before more angels. I actually am probably going to go to Chris Daw because after talking to some folks, not that Dave's a bad guy by any stretch of the measure. Dave's actually a really good guy. Chris Daw seems to be the fella for angelfish. So Francis, if you want angels, go see Chris Daw. Hey, fishing tank man, I can never say your name. Fishing Tanktix. I'll go with that. Thanks for stopping by. I do appreciate you, by the way, because you're always liking, commenting. You're always there. So thanks for the support, buddy. I appreciate it. I try to get around to watching everybody's videos, but there's a lot of folks on YouTube that I'm subscribed to and trying to support. So I get around there when I can. I'm moving to Carlisle, so I'll be closer to the Cichlid Club of York, the Aquarium Club of Lancaster County, stuff like that. The folks in the Cichlid Club of York are phenomenal. I mean, I reached out to them, let them know I was moving into the area, and all of a sudden I was getting lots of messages, lots of welcomes, lots of advice on who to go to for what, and taking care of for plecos and all sorts of stuff. Anybody watches King and Queen Cichlids? Scott from there, he's part of it. He's invited me to his fish room. Thanks, Ed. I appreciate it. I try. I'm really focused on the DIY and the budget fish keeping. You know, I work a normal job, and my wife she's active duty military. So I'm not a rich fish collector by any means, but try to do everything as budget conscious as possible. Like building my own lids, the lids on there, how to get free tanks. That's one of my videos. That one's actually done pretty well. But I've gotten a ton of free tanks doing it that way. Yeah, you do, Bob. I know. I'm in there as much as I can be. Scott, these are great people. Like I said, Scott's invited me over. We're going to collab and do some stuff. He's just trying to help me out. And I'm going to go do the tour of his fish room. I've talked to Michael from Michael's fish room as well. So there's quite a few of the notable names around here. Michael's in New Jersey, but he's not too far away. If I can find them, Sparrow, we'll see what happens, because the Cichlid Club of York is growing to not just be cichlids. They're becoming more accepting of other types of fish and stuff like that. So I'm gonna work on going to the meetings and see what I can be. So I actually had a really hard time going to the Lehigh Valley Aquarium Society meetings because of my job. Currently, I sell cars for a Ford dealership, and because of the hours and the meetings being on Mondays, I could almost never make it. So fun fact, the one time I went to the meeting was on my wedding day, because my wife is phenomenal and let me go to an aquarium club meeting the day we got married. D. Gray. I'll have to look him up, Francis. But that was the one time I got to go to an aquarium club meeting, and I had a blast. It's not too often we get to hang out with people that are just there about fish. You know, we keep fish. Sometimes we have friends with a fish tank, or we talk about it a lot on Facebook or YouTube videos. But we don't often in person get to hang out with people that we all keep fish. And when you get to, it's a really good time. You get to find out a lot about what people keep, what they've learned, what they regret, what they want to do, and the amount of knowledge and depth that goes into all the different kinds of species and their food and their habitats and the aquarium size and how to breed them and where they come from is absolutely insane. You could learn forever for the entirety of your life about fish nonstop and still not know it all by the time you die. But yeah, Bob, back to that. I can't wait to meet Scott and Liz. I've been watching them for quite a while, actually. They were one of the first YouTube channels that, when I got back into fish, my black Moscows. So my male red dragons and my male black Moscows, the adults, all died. When I was moving tanks, I drained the tanks a little far on one of them, and in the other one, I'm not sure what happened, but I lost all my males. So I have a bunch of fry, and I still have all the females. It was really just the males that died. But yeah, I've got a ton of black Moscow fry. They're growing out. So once they get done growing out, I'll get them back to line breeding. I have some yellow snakeskin endlers right now. I have some black bar endlers. I had a really nice orange endler line, but the male died from there as well. I'm just waiting to see if the females give birth, because the females that were in his tank were untouched prior. So if I can get them to spit out some of his babies, the line is saved. If not, I lost it. And if that's the case, I'll just continue with the snakeskins, because I really like the snakeskins. I think they're gorgeous fish, and I would love to go ahead and get that started. So the idea at some point, once I get everything up and running and breeding, is to do kind of an online thing like Michael does for Michael's Fish Room, and just sell my fish online through the club, locally, stuff like that. But I have to kind of get everything established. Most of the fish I get are juveniles, so I have to grow them out. You know, generally speaking, I don't want to pay $70 or $80 for full-grown fish. Your females and your babies died. That's a shame. Francis, if you find me on Facebook, I could probably give you some fry to grow out. Dylan Kelly. And you'll see my post in the group. I'm sure that's how you got here. But we can work something out before I leave. I'll give you a couple babies, and hopefully one or two of them grows up to be females. I seem to get a lot of females in my fry, so probably have a good shot. If you trade me a male or two, we can make that happen. So the way the new fish room is going to work, there's actually a recessed wall. It's probably that much room. So enough room for 20 gallons, 10 gallons, 30 gallons, stuff like that. So my intention is to just build a huge racking system for all those smaller tanks. Obviously 30 gallons on the bottom, 20, 20, 10, 10. So I'll stack them like that. And I'm going to have a really awesome wall of the smaller tanks for the guppies. I have celestial pearl danios that'll go in there. I have a figure 8 puffer. He can go in a 20-gallon by himself. And then I'm going to devote the rest of the room to the big tanks, the big American cichlids. Definitely going to do some African tanks. No, Bob, this is inside. This is in the basement of the new house. So in the basement of the new house, I have a room easily twice to 2.5, maybe 3 times bigger than this room. But there's a recessed wall. So where the wall would normally end, there's an indent about this much. I'd say it's 14 inches or so. And because of that recessed wall, I can easily just build a rack into the recessed part of the wall. Yeah, it is awesome, because what it does is it puts all of my small tanks out of the way and puts them all in one space where I can easily, label them, keep an eye on them. They're out of the way, and then that gives me so much room to do tanks all around, up the middle. And with the 125s, all the 18-inch wide plus tanks, they'll all go on one wall. Even 55 gallons, they're the same width as the 20 gallons. So I'll be able to do 55s there too. The ceiling height is actually pretty good. I believe they're 10-foot ceilings. So lots of room. I already have my step ladder because I needed it for this tank and for the other 125 stacked up over there. This tank is so tall I cannot reach into the bottom of it, even with the step ladder. I might do a pond one day. Maybe I'll do a koi pond. I'm not much of an angel or goldfish guy, but a nice koi pond would be cool. Or I don't think we're going to have the property for me to do like a native pond, but I could always do some like bluegill or something like that. If I really wanted to, I could heat the pond. I could put some other stuff in there. Like I know my father-in-law has put plecos in ponds and stuff like that. So my father-in-law actually really likes fish. He's a cool guy. So he used to go way back in the day when he lived in Florida down to the Everglades to just scoop and catch Oscars and cichlids and stuff like that. So I think that'd be really fun, and that'd be a really cool video too. Just going down and scooping for native fish, because you can catch sailfin mollies and Oscars, and unfortunately you end up catching a lot of cichlids down in the Florida waterways because people release them. That's why plecos are such a problem, which is part of the reason why we can't have snakeheads. So snakeheads, kind of devour everything that they get a hold of. And they saw it with plecos, where people were releasing their common plecos out into the wild, not realizing how big they get, and they bred out of control to the point where they've taken over waterways down south. So snakeheads, they've even been caught as far north as up here in PA. Maybe I'll go fishing one day. What I would like to do is build a greenhouse and do some tubbing. I'd like to be able to get it to be year-round. I could do some cold water fish. Yeah, Francis, everyone seems to not realize how big some of these boas and pythons and stuff get, and they end up releasing them out there in the wild, and you can go out there and catch red-tailed boas and ball pythons and all sorts of stuff that shouldn't be there in the first place. And the problem with that, so there's two sides of this argument. There's the side that says they are outcompeting the native wildlife, therefore killing it off and taking over. And then there's the side that I've seen from other folks that is like, well, that's how natural selection works. If they can outcompete them, they can outdo them, then they're the apex predator, blah, blah, blah. They should take it over. That's how it works, etc., etc. Now, I don't agree with that at all. You should never be releasing your pets into the wild, into a place where they don't belong. If you can't take care of something, this starts off with proper research first. So if you don't do your proper research before you get something, you end up having something that you have no idea what it is. Now, almost everybody's been guilty of it. A lot of people have done it. You know, you get something, you don't exactly know what it is, or somebody tells you it's something that turns out not to be that, and then you get a surprise down the road where you realize your pleco that they said would stay 6 inches actually gets, 14 inches long and is enormous in your little 55-gallon tank. But I feel like it starts with proper research. Again, it's not always your fault, and all of us have done it. When I was younger, I bought fish without knowing too much about them, but proper research is really, really, really important. And if you can't do the research and you get something, let's say somebody gives you something, you really, really, really need to learn about it. And if you can't give it a good home, find somebody that can. Yeah. So Bob, I post a lot on Facebook, right? A lot. I am part of many, many, many different fish groups. I like monster fish. I like cichlids. I like angelfish. I like guppies, planted tanks, nano tanks. I like everything. My interests are pretty wide when it comes to what I like in the hobby. So I'm part of a lot of different Facebook groups. So I learn a lot through them, and I post a lot through them, and I post a lot of my videos through them, right? So yeah, my channel mission is primarily education. I want to teach people how to build things. I want to teach them about their fish. I want to teach them how to control algae, collect driftwood, reseal tanks, all that good stuff. It's really just, I've done face-to-face interactions with people in fish stores and pet stores where I've gotten them to subscribe on the spot. We talk a little bit. Obviously, I don't just go, hey, you like fish? Subscribe to my channel, right? That would be obnoxious. But we do talk and throw out there, hey, I have this. And I've also started doing other things. So I created an Instagram page, which is vet_aquatics on Instagram. I'm not too active on there. I'm working on it. I have a lot of social media platforms that I'm dealing with, YouTube, Facebook, that, and some other. And I also did start my own Facebook group, and that is DIY Everything Aquariums. So here's what the difference in that group, in my opinion, is to others. I won't tolerate any of the negative, nasty stuff. So being in so many groups, I've also seen a lot of really nasty people, a lot of really rude people that, a new fish keeper gets something, they don't know what it is, they're having a problem, and somebody thinks it's an easy problem to fix. They get really nasty and really mean. And the problem with doing that is it turns off fish keepers from asking questions, so therefore they don't learn, and they kind of don't like the hobby because they assume it's full of nasty, mean people. So I created this group, DIY Everything Aquariums, to give those new fish keepers, there's a lot of experienced fish keepers in there now, for a place for new fish keepers to come in where they can easily ask questions and not worry about getting hounded or